Wayne Williams was just minding his own business when suddenly the police pulled him over for questioning. Now, Wayne didn't do anything wrong, so the police were assured of his innocence. Until 2 days later, they found a dead body near the place where they were questioning him. So they arrested him and ultimately found him guilty of not one, but two murders. But it didn't stop there, because as the police and detectives kept on digging for more information, they were confident that Wayne was the culprit behind more than 25 murders of young black men in Atlanta, also known as the Atlanta child murders. However, as the case developed, the police just kind of didn't have that much evidence, and a lot of people actually sided with Wayne at the time, deeming him innocent. So, what's going on here? Was Wayne Williams really the man behind the series of killings of the Atlanta child murders? Or was the police only using him as a scapegoat because they found it difficult to catch the real murderer? Today, we uncover the gruesome case of the Atlanta child murders. Wayne Bertram Williams was born on May 27, 1958 in Atlanta and actually had a really great start in life. So in school, Wayne was known to excel with the help of his parents, who were apparently school teachers. He was pretty much smart in all subjects like math and science, and this made him quite popular with his teachers and classmates calling him a virtual genius. Now, Wayne also showed his competence outside of school when he tried to start a radio station. So basically, he'd go down his parents' basements and execute all his radio station plans there. So it's safe to say that he grew up with a high entrepreneurial spirit. Now, this is crazy because the Jet magazine, which was quite famous at that time, was actually interested in his story that they covered him in one of their issues. So overall, Wayne Williams was having an amazing life, and it seemed like he got a bright future ahead of him. But unfortunately, Wayne's journey in life was slowly falling apart to the point where it took a dark turn. So it's 1976. Wayne had just graduated from Douglas High School and pursued a higher education by enrolling into Georgia State University. But he didn't have the best record there. With only 1 year into his college life, Wayne decided to call it quits, and he was no more a student. From here on, Wayne was like a headless chicken with no direction of which path he wanted to take this life in. He was once a radio station operator when he was younger, so he tried continuing that, but it just didn't work. So he switched to record production, but that didn't work as well. So he switched again to talent scouting and even freelance photography, but his career never flourished. And this was probably the point where he started acting different. So a neighbor of his actually noticed a change in his demeanor. This time, he liked to mess with kids. So basically, he would act like a policeman, and when he saw some kids playing nearby, he would actually tell them to get off the street or he would put them in jail. And this was the start of his fall. On May 22 in 1981, 3 a.m., Wayne was just driving his car near a bridge over the Chattahoochee River. But little did he know that some police officers were actually patrolling the area at the time. So when he got there, they stopped him and pulled him over. Now, they found nothing wrong or suspicious with Wayne, so they just kind of let him go. But 2 days later, they found a dead body of 27-year-old Nathaniel in the downstream nearby Chattahoochee River. And Wayne, who they found wandering around the area 2 days ago, was immediately regarded as a suspect. But unfortunately for Wayne, the timing just wasn't ideal, because at that time, there had been a series of murders terrorizing the city over the past 2 years, which was called the Atlanta child murders. So the police saw this and linked the murder of Nathaniel to that of the Atlanta child murders. So between 1979 to 1981, there had been a series of murders that took the lives of at least 28 children and young adults across Atlanta. All of these victims were black. They called this the Atlanta child murders. On July 28, 1979, police found two dead bodies on the side of the road. These victims were 13 and 14 years old. One died from a gunshot, while the other was suffocated to death. From this point in time, more and more bodies were found and eventually reached a ridiculous number of more than 28 found dead by May of 1981. Unfortunately for the local police, they were having difficulties figuring out the truth behind these murders, so an FBI profiler by the name of John Douglas stepped in. He had experience interviewing serial killers such as Richard Speck, David Berkowitz, and James R. Ray, so he was really looking out to be the man to solve this mystery. Now, John had a hunch that the killer was a black man, because you would want to have access to black children within the black community without being suspicious. And many of these dead bodies were actually found within the same location, including the Chattahoochee River. So the police patrolled around the area. And that was when they found Wayne and the body of Nathaniel and also Jimmy Ray Payne shortly after. Now here are the reasons why John was convinced that Wayne was the killer. He found that he had weak alibis. He failed a polygraph test. The fibers on Wayne's car matched with the ones on Nathaniel and Jimmy Ray Payne's bodies, and John assumed that Wayne's recent failures in life led him to commit murders in order to retake the sense of control that he had lost. Due to these reasons, Wayne Williams was arrested. And here's the craziest thing. Ever since this arrest, the murders just seemed to stop. It was February 1982. Wayne Williams was found guilty for the murders of Payne and Cater and was convicted with 2 life sentences. Although the police were sure that he was the culprit, and John Douglas was actually able to connect Wayne Williams with 12 other murders, Wayne wasn't actually charged with any of the cases of the Atlanta child murders. In jail, Wayne showed good behavior and innocence, eventually accepting his fate, thinking that God had plans for him. And in 1994, he wrote this letter to the parole board in order to be released. I've realized it's not always a case of right or wrong, guilt or innocence, but how we handle adversity and grow from our errors. My life has been an example of going from promise to the pits. Now I'll only ask for the chance to do my part in restoring the confidence so many once had in me. Though unfortunately for him, he was denied parole. But here's where things got a little spiced up. So basically, many people living in Atlanta, including the families of the victims of the Atlanta child murders, actually believed that Wayne wasn't responsible for the murders. Another convincing report came from the Spin magazine that made a shocking reveal that the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, or the GBF, actually suppressed evidence that could prove that these killings were actually committed by a member of the KKK. But these reports could spark racial strife, so they decided to keep it in. So from here comes the question, did Wayne Williams really commit the crime? Or was this a scapegoat to hide from the real truth? Unfortunately for Wayne Williams, he was repeatedly denied parole, and to this day, is still serving his sentence in jail. November 2027 will be the time where he will get another chance for parole, but the actual truth behind the Atlanta child murders remains a mystery. So what do you think? Was it a correct decision to put Wayne Williams in jail? Or do you think that the police should have done more to actually find out what really happened between those 2 years Atlanta child murders took place? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below and subscribe for more videos like this. Ever wondered how many lives have been taken from doing TikTok trends? Check out this video where we uncover the deadliest challenges that have emerged in TikTok.